You're listening to Catalyst for Change, and my name is Jessica Huckabee, your host. I started this podcast to learn what makes people resilient after challenging events and how they've used those series of events as a catalyst for change in their life. You'll hear stories of resiliency and strength, so get ready, sit back, and be prepared to be inspired. Today on my show, I have Eric Jones Jr. He was born with a rare disease called club hands, and this caused his arms to be shorter than normal. Eric had surgeries from the age of 6 months old all the way up through 17 years old. And due to the many challenges he faced at school and within his family, he was depressed at a really young age. And he was bullied, but he overcame these challenges through developing the right mindset and fostering key friendships and relationships. Eric is now a father, a mentor, an author, and a basketball coach, and also an inspirational speaker. Eric's motto is, "You can measure my hands and my arms, but you cannot measure my heart." Thank you so much, Eric, for coming on my podcast today, Catalyst for Change, Stories of Resiliency. Can you tell me about what has been a catalyst for change in your life so far?
Um, so just so I was born with a physical disability, and so that started the challenges at an early age from birth. And then I've had surgeries from 6 months all the way until I was 17 years old. And the surgeries were to break my arm, move cartilage, move certain like limbs in my fingers to try to give me the best hand mobility that I could have. But growing up, my biological father passed away when I was only 4. So that took a toll on me. Then I started to go to school and I was bullied. And being bullied, it gives you a low self-esteem because people are talking about you. People are, making fun of you, saying your parents are this and that. And at around the age of 7 and 10, I attempted to commit suicide, which it didn't work because I just had enough. I had enough of what was going on. And I remember my mom told me, she was like, "You're going to have to deal with this no matter what because your arms aren't going to change." And kind of when she told me that, that kind of gave me more self-esteem or more confidence, I would say. And I started playing basketball. And basketball was like my platform of where I knew I put in the work, I practiced, and I was able to dominate. So I took what I learned on the basketball court or how I felt, and I took it in the real world. And I was able to get my confidence and be able to start doing things that everyone else was doing. But as I was growing up, I didn't like school, but I liked basketball. And I didn't understand you had to go to school first to play basketball. So I didn't get an opportunity to play school basketball, but I still was able to play. And as I grew up, people would watch me and see, and that was kind of an inspiration to them. And that was kind of an inspiration to me that other people looked at me and say, "Oh, because his arms are short, that doesn't mean he can't do A, B, or C." And as I grew up, when you have a disability, you're supposed to get a disability check. Never got a disability check. They said nothing was wrong with me. I was able to go to work. So even being born with a disability, I wasn't able to get assistance. So I just had to continue on and try to go get jobs and try to get jobs. And luckily, some people knew me and I was able to get a job. And then as I had my son, I realized what purpose I had for my life. It was like the change in me. I was born with this situation because I was able to handle it. Now I'm able to go inspire people, to go tell people about my story and tell them how I overcame being born with a physical disability, but was able never stop doing what everybody else could do or never stop doing what I wanted to do. And that's kind of how like the change happened from being an adult and realizing I was born this way for a purpose and not for all the stuff that I've been through.
Yeah. Wow. You've been through a lot in your life, it sounds like. So you were born with a condition called club hands. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. It's
Yeah.
a different terminology,
Dif-
but that's the one that I know and I won't mess the word up.
Yeah. No, I'm sure it's pretty scientific. So they did a bunch of surgeries from 6 months old. So that's so young, all the way up until you're 17 to correct your hands. and to break the bones and to make them grow more, the way they were supposed to, with, I guess, without, trying to get over that disability in the arms. So even with that, you were able to play basketball. You were able to get through a lot of different things that, maybe they didn't think you would be able to do someday, it sounds like.
Correct. Because I was back in the '80s. It was 1 out of 4 million people, so it wasn't a whole lot of people that looked like me. So it wasn't like I could go to certain people and say, "Hey, how did you get over this?" Because it wasn't a lot of people. So it was just going to where I had my surgery, Shriners Hospital, and seeing other kids that maybe looked similar or had other conditions that kind of made me like, okay, what I got going on isn't that bad because
Yeah.
there's people here worse than me.
Yeah. And when you're in Shriners Hospital, was that all of your surgeries from 6 months old till 17 years old?
Correct. So
Yeah.
Shriners is where they help families with kids with disabilities, mental, physical, and it's kind of because I don't know if I would have been able to have all those surgeries
Yeah.
without their assistance. So they just help you from until you're like 18 years old, and they make sure they do everything in their power to help you. So once you're an adult, you don't have to go through any physical therapy, surgeries, or anything of that sort, unless it's needed.
Yeah. As an ongoing treatment, it sounds
Yep.
like. And then, so you're only 7 years old. I couldn't imagine a 7-year-old or a 10-year-old trying to commit suicide. You must have been going through some really difficult things and felt like you didn't have any other choice, it sounds like. And what was going on for you at that time?
So really, it took a while for me to get over my dad passing.
Yeah.
Um, so that played a role in it because I'd be at home, I'd get in trouble. I'd be like, man, I wish my dad was alive. I could be able to go over there and different things of that sort. And then my mom, she married my sister's dad. So I'm like, skip you. You're trying to replace my dad. So I had that
Yeah.
going on. And then just going to school and kids, making fun of me and just life being hard because uh, though that was like the beginning stages of my surgeries. So like my arms were like curved, so
Yeah.
just just dealing with different things and not being able to do what normal kids would be able to do, and then just a lot weighing on me. And I didn't tell my mom like when I was young. I'd never told her any of the times that this ever happened until I became an adult. So I was
Yeah.
just going through a lot and didn't know how to express it to anybody.
Yeah. And who was there for you when you were that age? Did you have any mentors or anybody in your corner to help you fight the battles that you were fighting within and with the people that were making fun of you and maybe your new stepfather, that kind of thing?
I would say my mom and my sister, my grandma, they always, because they never treated me any different. They never like gave me any special treatment. It wasn't like, oh, because my arms were a certain way, I didn't get in trouble. So I had that. I would say at a younger age, I didn't have like a lot of mentors or different things like that. But as I got older, my mom would always put me and my sister in different programs, positive programs. So that would help. But it really was my friend. His name is Gus, and he taught me how to joke.
Hmm.
And once I learned how to joke back on people, people would stop picking on me because they like, oh, he can actually joke. And they realized only thing you could say was about my arms. And then once they realized that, it was nothing too much they could say, so they stopped leaving me alone as the years went on.
Yeah, so that sounds like a pretty empowering thing that Gus taught you, is to come back at them and joke about them or joke about something else, because the ammunition was already gone. They already talked about your arms, and that's the only thing that they can really talk about.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah,
it really was because it helped me it helped me just to be quick with the draw, not just jokes, but just quick with the draw when
yeah,
someone, because for some reason people think because you have a physical disability, it has something to do with your brain. And it's like my brain moves just as quickly as yours. So once people started realizing that, they were like, okay, we gonna leave him alone because I'm not trying to get joked on by the kid with the short arms. And then they would sometimes people would want to fight. And it's like, hold on, you started joking on me. I'm supposed,
yeah,
people think because you have a look a certain way, you're not supposed to stand up for yourself. And that's just never who I was. And when I got that confidence, so
Yeah.
that helped me to have the confidence to stand up no matter where I'm at, whoever it is.
Yeah. No, it's good that Gus empowered you and you empowered yourself to overcome some of those things and to make them realize, the people that were making fun of you, that you weren't somebody they wanted to joke around with or to mess around with, because you can come back with your own stuff. And so that sounds like a really good relationship that you had with Gus. Now, how old were you when you had that kind of mentorship and that relationship?
It started so 7. I was probably like second grade. So I met him in like first. We've been friends since like probably kindergarten, but I would say around that age, because I remember me and him were in the same class in second grade. So it was around that same time, probably afterwards,
Mm,
where I really got that confidence to really, come back at people or at least stand up for myself, where I wasn't just allowing people to talk about me and my feelings get hurt or stuff like that. So
yeah.
me and him have been friends since about kindergarten, but I would say around second grade is where we really became tight and friends, and he showed me, just a response of how to come back quickly on people.
That's good. Now you mentioned basketball. So what got you motivated to get into basketball?
Birth. I've been into basketball since birth. I to be honest with you, I don't know where it comes from because nobody in my family that I know of played basketball like where they were like really good or anything of that sort. So I liked it since birth. I always liked the ball because my mom would tell me when I had surgeries, I would always have a ball. But
Mm,
it got to the point where it was like I didn't want to watch other people play. I didn't want to be a cheerleader for other people. I wanted people to cheer me on. So I
yeah.
just would go out there and practice, and I would watch basketball. I would imitate every move that I seen, and I would just go out there every day. And then my mom got me a basketball court in my room, got me a basketball court at the in the driveway, and I would just go every day because I wanted to be in the NBA. Like once, when you're young, that was my thing to
Yeah.
be because I love basketball. And I just worked on my game. And once I figured out, oh, I really can play, then it was over with. It was like, I'm going to go on this court because most people, 90% of the people I play basketball with going to think I can't play. So I'm at an advantage already because they like, oh, he can't play, or oh he got short arms. Oh, we'll just pass him the ball and maybe he'll make it. And then they start saying, oh, he really can play. And that kind of was my thing. Like, I can dominate on this basketball court. I don't care what I look like. I don't care who you are. And once I realized that, I just took basketball and kept playing. And now I coach basketball because I don't play it as much, but I
Yeah.
have the basketball IQ to teach other people how to play.
Oh, that's amazing. So what did it do for you, your success in basketball? Did that change everything as far as your social interactions with others, your relationships with other people? It gave you confidence, it sounds like, because you wouldn't give up, because you were persistent and you were extremely motivated. It sounds like it would change every aspect of your life, just having that one thing that you're really good at.
Yes. So in life, everybody has a gift or something that they're good at. And once
Yeah.
you realize that that's your thing, then you're able to go out there and be your best. But then there's other people that watch you and they're motivated or inspired by it, or whatever it is that you do. Like you said, you take that confidence. I took that confidence from the basketball court and took it everywhere else. Because when I was younger, I would always wear a jacket because I didn't want people to look at me, people to see me having, looking a certain way. But on the basketball court, I'm not wearing no jacket. It's hot outside.
Yeah.
So I just switched over. I just was like, okay, if I can dominate on this court, I can dominate in life. And then I just started getting confidence to be Eric because on the basketball court, I could be Eric. And when I realized I can be Eric at all times, then that's when it kind of changed for me. And it was like, all right, just be yourself. Some people aren't going to like you. Some people will like you. And I always say everybody didn't like Jesus, so everybody's not going to like me.
Yep, that's true. Yeah, not everybody's going to have to be your friend. You just have to be yourself. You have to be Eric and know that that's good enough. It sounds like. So, wow, that's amazing. So you still play basketball now, but you're coaching more than playing right now. and you had a son. And so how are these lessons spilling over to how you're coaching your son to be a good man as he's growing up?
Um, so with that, my son is funny because he's an albino. So he came out looking different and he's different than everyone else. So me dealing with what I had to, I just teach him to, be himself. He's only 6. So,
Okay.
you teach him some stuff and he understands it, but then he's still 6. So he comes back to it. So I just try to be the best me, even though I make mistakes, even though, stuff happens. I always tell him to do whatever you do, do the best that you can, and I'll always be happy with the results.
Yeah.
So just talking to him and putting him in different programs, like he had a personal trainer in the summer because he plays basketball. He does training now, so I'm just doing stuff that I didn't get the opportunity to do and doing it for him, but just being there for him because as a young man, having a male figure, if it's your dad or somebody else, makes the world of a difference. So just being there for him, just talking to him, and then just explaining to him, about his situation, that he looks different because he at a point he would say, "I'm white," and I'm like, "No, dude, your mom and your dad is black, so you're black." Like we had to explain that
Yeah.
because with everything going on in the world, he was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna get shot by the police because I look like them." And that
Mm.
was a hard pill to swallow, to kind of explain that to your 6-year-old son. Like, no, you're still black at the end of the day, and those things that you see happen or hear happen can happen to you too.
Yeah. Yeah, just educating him about what could happen and that he still is black. He still is of you. You're his father and his mother is black as well. So that's who he is culturally and that's who he should identify with. And just that must be really interesting being a parent of someone who looks different. And I mean, that's just amazing. And so you're able to teach him respect for where he's coming from and to look forward to to help other people that may be albino or maybe have shorter hands or whatever because he's been through something similar now. So how is his social life? Are people more kind to him than they were to you when you were growing up?
I would say yeah. I don't think kids. I don't think it's hit like he's only in first grade that he's different. They just look at him as he's light skinned because he has red hair, color eyes, so he just looks like he's light skinned. But like if you're an adult or older, you kind of can tell. So he hasn't had any hiccups yet. He had a situation where kids were talking about he had twisties and he came home and he cut his own hair. So in that instance, we had to sit him down and explain like, you have to come talk to us, let us know what's going on. But people treat him, everyone loves him. Like
Good.
wherever he goes, he gets spoiled. He's very well mannered. Like we make sure that we teach him respect. Like if he's not around us, that his behavior is A1 because I would rather him be bad or worrisome, whatever words you want to put on there at home than out in public. So that's kind of how he is.
Oh, that's really good. And I'm glad that it hasn't affected him like has what has happened to you when you were growing up. And so he doesn't feel depressed or bullied or any of those things. And if it ever does come up, it sounds like you'll know how to handle it. You'll be a really good mentor because you've had to struggle with those things.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, that's wonderful. Now, what are you doing? You're coaching basketball for now. What age group are you working with?
I coach high school. That's the last time I coached. That was before the pandemic and everything
Yeah.
happened. But I started off coaching his sister. His sister is kind of like my daughter, a bonus daughter, when she was like in 5th or 6th grade. And then I started moving up to 8th grade, and high school is kind of where I want to stick.
Okay.
So I coach high school basketball. I had a mentor program, but since the pandemic, I would go speak at the detention center. I mentor kids in Nigeria through what's that app? It's an app that I use. So I mentor them. Um, I'm a speaker. I go to schools and speak. I'm an author. I'm trying to think.
Wow.
And I just started a clothing line, which the clothing line is going to be for my son. because he's really into fashion. So now it's just making positive t-shirts. But as he gets older, if he wants to turn it into his own clothing line or whatever, then we'll go about it that way. So those are just a few things that I do.
Wow, it sounds like you're doing a lot of stuff on different fronts as far as speaking and being engaged with high school basketball, being engaged with your son and nourishing his passion for fashion, and starting that clothing line for him with positive messages, and so he could take that to the next step when and if he's ready to do that, when he gets ready.
Correct.
Nice. Well, is there anything that you want to make sure that we mention on this podcast about you, about your resiliency? Because you have amazing strength and amazing resilience. Just by talking to you this short amount of time, I could just see that. And it's really helpful for other people that may be going through something like that. Is there anything you think we may have missed?
I do have a podcast myself. It's called It's a Jones Thing. But what I would say to people, just what I tell kids when I go, to bet on yourself. And you break bet down. You believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself first, no one else will believe in you. I believed in myself with the basketball, and that helped other people believe in me, and that brought that confidence to me and to other people to have confidence and put me on their team. Then the E is for effort, but it's not regular effort, it's heart effort. You got to give everything that you got. It's just like when you got to when you're driving and your gas light comes on and that light bings, but you're able to drive 2 or 3 more miles because there's an extra tank in there. You got an extra tank in you. So you got to give everything that you got. And once you give everything you got, then you won't be mad at the results. You'll just learn from whatever you didn't accomplish. And then the T is for trust the progress of the process. You have to trust the process, because if you don't trust the process, then you'll get frustrated. You'll think whatever you're doing is over with. You might hit a speed bump or something like that, and then you'll want to stop. But you just got to trust it and keep going, and make sure that you're consistent in anything that you're doing positive in your life, because it's easy for us to do can be consistent in bad habits, but it's hard for us to be consistent in good habits. So just bet on yourself. And once you bet on yourself, then other people will bet on you. And then that's where you'll be able to live out the purpose that you want to live out.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Now, do you have anything that you do every day, like a daily ritual to keep you in the right mindset?
Um, I would say, for the most part, I read my Bible first thing in the morning. Um, or I'll go in certain songs. Like, I have daily songs that I listen to. So I would say those daily songs, or just depending on how I feel, I'll pick a song that kind of, energizes me. And then I'll make a video. If I have enough time before I get to work, if I don't wake up late, I'll make a video on something that I've heard or seen and tell a story from my life and help other people out.
Nice. Well, that's really good advice. And I really like your daily rituals. So, well, thank you so much, Eric, for talking to me on my podcast. I will put all your information in the show notes so people know how to get in touch with you.
All right. Well, thank you for the opportunity to be on your podcast.
Yeah. Well, you have a wonderful day.
All right. You do the same.
You've been listening to Catalyst for Change, and my name is Jessica Huckabee, your host. Join us next week for another story of resiliency. And please subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts, and feel free to leave me a comment or email me at catalystforchange20@gmail.com, or on Facebook, we have a page at Catalyst for Change Resiliency.